I thought this was for 3:35, but I don't think I set it for that. I think I set it for 3:30. I apologize for being late. Donna Cooper, I love when you guys gift memberships. Thank you for doing that. It's really, really kind and people get super excited. And it's honestly, that's a good way to start this stream, getting people happy. Thank you for doing that, Donna. I love you, babe. Hi, Heather Rhodes, Emily Brooks. Yeah, it's been a long time. Thank you for being here. Thank you, mods, for being here. Robin Miners, Pamela Perfect. I haven't seen you in a while either. Thank you for being here. Hey, Tara. Hey, Abigail. That's okay, Abigail. Thanks for being here as long as you can. Hey, HC from LBC. Hey, Heather. Puka Vista's here. Diana H. Joanne Hawley. Jamie Palmer. Tiffinisms. Yeah, that was really nice. See how excited people get about that? Thank you again, Donna. Hey, Joel Sachs. Do and Be Better is here. Abigail also gifted. Thank you so much. That is really kind, guys. People really go nuts over the gifted memberships. Thank you for doing it. I think it's really a kind thing to do for the community. Thank you. Hey, Martin, I'm really glad that you made it here. I'm really looking forward to this subject today. I was in a similar situation with my mother-in-law. I'm sorry that happened to you. Robin Miners, you did make it. Hey, DS Kitty Diane. Thank you. Hey, Judy Lee. Liz Tricks. That's okay. I'm sorry that's happening with your internet. But I'm glad that you're here, Liz Tricks. Hey, Starlina, as long as you can be. Jessamine, Jamie Palmer. Thank you. I fished this out of the clearance rack at Target yesterday. I'm assuming because it's a summer top, but it was a size small and it fit me fine. Like it's very oversized. So I don't know. I was like, I don't know what that sleeve's going to look like, but we know I love a puff sleeve. It's stretchy. So I don't know. I liked it. I like the blues in it. Thank you. Hey, Just As I Am. Hey, Buffy. Katie did it. Hey, Helena, Baby Lily Pad, DNB, Wisconsin Barb, Rachel Sandy made it. Oh, yes, definitely prayers for your grandson and healing vibes. Absolutely, Anna Banana. He's a fighter. That kid is a fighter. He made it all the way through. He's going to make it through that, I promise. But yes, we don't want him to be sick either way. Healing vibes, babe. Of course, prayers. Armine, welcome. Hey, Lori Helker. Hey, Rhonda McNeil. Hey, Alicia. Sarah from Cali. Melissa's here. Thank you, Melissa. Hey, Debbie Zito. Kim Leaf. Kim Leaf, that is such a kind thing to say. I'm going to try not to cry through this one, but that makes me want to cry. She said, I'm here to support you as a fellow mother. Thank you for that. Holly Day made it. Bohemian Luciferian Witch. Hey, Patty, Stella. I made it a little bit earlier for you, but I understand if you can't be here, it's later way later in the UK. So I understand, but thank you for trying and being here. I love you too, Lydia Krause. Tomorrow is big day and mom in hospital again. Need to see your beautiful face and my chosen family. We love you. And again, positive thoughts, vibes for you and your family. I love Lydia Krause and Lucas and your mom. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being here. Hey, Bigsy. Summer Ava, that's such a nice thing to say and welcome. Hey, Island Hippie Girl. Peter King. Go watch the last 10 minutes of my stream last night. I addressed it there. Thank you for asking. Hey, Dawn Davies, Angie Moe. Thank you, Angie. My tattoo is really not itchy at all. It's maybe once or twice a day it gets itchy. I say that and then it'll probably go crazy on this stream. Hey, Xenu and the Body Thetans, thank you. Yeah, did a little pop of red with the blue. We all know I love navy and red. Brian Bolin, I got to read your email, but I know you did email me. I love you, Brian Bolin. Hey, Chris Crafts and Coffee. Jan made it. Peter made it. Pat Jonas is here. Joel Sachs, here for you always. I love you, Joel Sachs, and thank you. I'm glad you could make it. Guys, it's a weird time of day, and I know that a lot of people are in totally different places in the world, like Joel, who's in South Africa. Thank you, Joel. Hey, Jill Turner. Green Eggs and Graham. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Kestrel. Thank you, Buffy. So, oh man, navy, red, and gold. We have learned. It's so true. Robin Miners. It's such a class look. Melissa says a bit off topic, Reese, but I want you to know, hey, Lori Lee, that I'm going to my first therapy session in many years. I'm ready to figure myself out. That's incredible. That is a beautiful thing. And for you to share that here, normalizing therapy is a big deal to me. I don't want anybody to feel like it's an ick, ew, there's something wrong with you. It's the most beautiful thing that's happened to me. So thank you for sharing that. I hope that you will maybe share along your therapy journey of like, I'm doing great, or you found a good therapist. I really hope that for you. That is a beautiful thing, my friend, and incredible. And I'm honored to know. Thank you for sharing it here. We love you, Melissa. You're also hilarious. You really keep me laughing. Renee B. Yes, it is Renee B. Thank you, Tara. Thank you for being here. Hey, who, what, where now? So I'm just letting people kind of trickle in, saying hello. Once we get started, thank you, Lisa Kelson. I can't gauge how this is going to go. I don't ever plan streams. I could sometimes when I do a heavy topic, I just keep engaged with myself on the subject and I kind of don't look at the chat because I will get heavily into something. Baby steps. No problem. And if you can't be here, I understand that too, baby steps. You're always here with us. And I know you got stuff going on, but thank you. Hey, Tracy with a T. Kafik, wow, welcome. Hi, Jane. So I don't know how this is going to go. I have been, this is a heavy topic. And for those that don't know, that weren't in yesterday's stream, kid, you know what I might do? Huxley doesn't get home for another 20 minutes. Don't look at my ugly shorts. Okay, I'm going to leave this door like that because Huxley's not here. And okay. Hey, Catherine B. Hey, Joy Forbes. So for those of you that weren't here yesterday, I think that this week has been a strange week. It's been a great week because Huxley turned 16, and I don't want to make it a downer of a week, but things happen when they happen emotionally, right? And so, thanks, who, what, where now. Hey, Kevin Conklin, I'm glad that you're here. I think that I opened something up the other night, whether I meant to or not. Talking about the Michael thing, if you guys were here for that, kind of trickled on down into where we are today. I talked about my first husband, Michael, who's Huxley's father, a few days ago, and I didn't expect to go into that topic. And it just happened. And it kind of opened up the floodgates for me on some things with just how poorly he was. I'm going to cry through this. It's just is what it is. My period's coming in a couple of days and I just can't hold it back. How poorly he was treated, how much he was abused, and how lightly I kind of took it up until recently. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that right now. I'm not married to him anymore, but it doesn't change the fact that I know his story, and it's, hey, Marie Marion, it's beyond words. It's brutal, right? And that opened up some things the next day. I was just very feeling very raw with my emotions. And it led me to, I believe this is probably a God thing. It led me to where I need to be right now in this moment. And it led me to something that has been weighing on me. Thank you, Tara. That has been weighing on me for 16 years now, plus. And I think that I have, yes, Stella, I think she's right. It takes us to take a step back to really see and feel things, Stella. And that's what we do on this channel. And I'm proud of us for that, by the way. This is going to be a rough one. It's been kind of a rough week since I opened up that door, but it'll be worth it to step through. You're going to do it with me. You guys showed up today with me to hold my hand through this. I asked you to, and I rarely do that. But this is something I feel like I need to get out. um, in odd, strange ways. I would all if you were to ask me, what's the thank you, Robin Miners. What is the worst thing that's happened to you in your life? Like, I would usually go to my dad. I would usually go to my dad leaving me. I almost feel like this has been a little bit worse than that because I know it's worse because I don't like to blame other people for things I'm going through, but I'm going to do it right now. I absolutely believe that Doug robbed um, the connection between me and my child. And I think that he destroyed what motherhood is for me, was for me. Because I've never talked about it like this. I don't want to. I've never wanted to. This is going to be really hard for me. Um, I know how I felt carrying that child in me, and it completely changed. Thank you, Alabama Rose. It completely changed once he was born and taken away from me for 3 days. And then after that, taken away from me for 13 years. And I felt very impacted by that. Again, I had this like really when I wanted to get pregnant. Huxley was planned. I clocked when I was ovulating. I knew when I could get pregnant. I wanted him. He was not an accident. I was very excited about the thought of motherhood and entering that point in my life. And I think that I've never looked at it the way we're about to go down this path. I think that I no longer feel or felt that way after he was born. That concept of motherhood, that feeling of excitement, that whole like I've got a lifetime plan with this child was wiped out. And I've never been willing to really look at that because it's just too much to look at. And here we are 16 years later, and it's never been put back to what I wanted it to be. And I've tried, but I think a lot of damage has been done to Huxley, not even so much me. I think a lot of the damage with it's hard. This is hard because this was intentional damage. This was intentional pain and intentional stealing of him. This was intentional separation of a mother and her child. And the reason I'm having a hard time with what I just said is because I always blame me for that. I always blame myself for that. It was by design. He paid for everything. He stepped in and said, "Let me help you with your house payment. Let me help Michael with his car payment." And I feel like I took that and traded it for my son. Now, in that time, I did not know what was coming, right? I thought this was people who loved me. Like, it was the first time I had parents, is how I felt when all of this was occurring. Him stepping in, I'll never forget the sentence that Doug said to me, which was, I make all this money. Who am I if I can't help my children? And you're my child now. You're my daughter. That's exactly what he and his wife, Brenda, said to me when I had just had Huxley. And he was like, let me help you. Let me help pay for some things. I had no idea this was a transaction. I had no idea at the time that this was going to be an exchange for my child. Had I known that, I would have picked him up and Michael and moved out of state to get away from them. I would have absolutely left. Pray for God for healing for your relationship. I way ahead of you on that, but thank you for your super chat, and not a bad thing to remind people of. Thank you, Chris Crafts and Coffee. Thank you, Liz Tricks. Well, of course, everybody's saying like that's manipulation. It is, but I think, again, I really don't like to do this because I don't like to blame anything on something else. I'm all about taking accountability. So I'm not like, well, I was because of this. That's just not how things work in my mind. And I like get an electric shock every time I try to blame something on something else. I'm like, no. But the fact of the matter here is, it's easier to be manipulated when you're a born into Scientology Scientologist. I believe that I just was very easy to manipulate. It's not an excuse. It's not a cop-out. I believe that I was very easy to, I trusted Doug and Brenda. I felt them in my heart and soul when they said, I had just been getting over. So my dad left when I was 16. They showed up into my life when I was like 23, 24. And not only did they show up saying, you're our daughter now. We always wanted a daughter. We never had a daughter. Oh my God, you're perfect. This is the perfect family now. And they said that a lot. And it made me feel so warm and secure. And then this man, Doug, who's this patriarch, right? He comes in like a wrecking ball. And men are seen as above females. Huxley's going to be here any minute, and I'll have him shut this door, but Bo is going to bark. I think I just heard his bus. Men are seen as above females in Scientology. It depends on the man. Doug, my father and Doug definitely look down on women. No question. Yes, women are less than them in their eyes. Probably the case also with Dan O'Connor. Alex Carr, whom I've talked about, I don't think he felt that way at all. So I think it's not, I think Scientology attracts predators and amplifies and validates their predatorial behavior, and it makes them worse, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think there's a lot of I'm above you in Scientology. Yeah, I as a woman, I think so. I have felt it, but I'm just saying I don't think it's across the boards, maybe is what I'm trying to say. But it's probably case by case. And I'm sure other ex-Scientologists would have their own stories about that. So I can't really say yes or no to that. Doug did exactly what your father did, giving you money and thinking that made everything right. That's a great point. I had never connected those dots till you just said that. Yes, Vicky C, that's very true. But to be fair, a lot of Scientologists do that. My dad's donated millions. Bo is at the front door with this baby. Do you have your baby? Bobo? Bobo? Oh. Whenever somebody comes over, even if it's Huxley, he has to go get a baby and bring it and show it. Even in the middle of the night, when I take Bo out to go potty at 3 a.m, he has to go get one of his babies. I pick up like 10 babies a day and put them back in his basket, and he gets them out. And it's the cutest thing you've ever seen. My God, that's cute. I think people use money to manipulate in Scientology hugely. I don't know if that goes on in other religions, but in Scientology, okay, it's just your brother. Bo, hey, come here. It's your brother. Go show him your baby. Hey, Hux. I have the window open because it's like 75 degrees here. He's so excited. It's so cute. Go show him your baby. Wow. Bobo. Wow, it's your brother. You just saw him a few hours ago. Yeah, I wish he would put his toys back. Okay. Thank you. This is that cute toy that Abigail had made for Finn. That's your baby. Go show it to your brother. Hey, Hux, you can shut my door. I had it open for Kid. You were primed for it your whole life. It's okay to place blame in this case. You were preyed upon by him. Yes. Thanks, Wisconsin Barb. His haircut she did a great job. It's perfect. Yes, Debbie Zito, it's hard for me to do that. It's really hard for me to point finger to blame somebody else for something that I did or I was aware of. Does that make sense? It's okay to blame someone for what they did. But like in this case, I feel like I was an accomplice. It's hard to point the finger at him when I was there. But at the same time, let's be totally upfront here. I wasn't aware of the strings that were being pulled behind the scenes. I was not aware of that, right? So you aren't blaming. You're just now seeing the light. They groomed and took full advantage. Thank you for ending that nightmare. Yes, Kevin, that's a great way of putting it. You were also taught that you pulled things in, Pat Jonas. No question. That's true too. Lisa Kellison says, you're not placing blame, you're stating facts. And Debbie says, you didn't see it as that back then. And Robin says you were manipulated. Yeah. Guys, and now that I know better, I've done better, just like we all do. Hey, Carol, look at it as a reason rather than blaming them. You have already conquered so much. You will cope and become stronger. Huxley will recognize the truth over time. The two of you have a lifetime to create a new bond. That is such a cool thing to say. Very kind, Carol, and very spot on. But I'm a believer in dealing and walking through that stuff, that pain, to what's the purpose of what we're doing today? Like, why are we dragging up the past? For me, I have a very specific reason that I'm doing this. This has been haunting me for a long time. When did you realize the thing about believing Huxley and his dad? The thing about believing Huxley and his dad. I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that, Sarah? Abigail, he will once again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the home of the wicked will be destroyed. That's a really strong one, Abigail, and I love it. Thank you for that. And have a good evening, Abigail. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your super chat. Love you too. And thank you, Abigail. So you can get him out of your head. You can't let it go until you confront it. Yes. But it's also something, ladies, and Martin and Joel, it's also something that I haven't been dealing with. It's been on the surface and bubbling for a long time. And I think we've seen it in my streams when it comes up and the anger that we all feel. Hi, Brandy Ruff. Welcome in. I don't recognize your name. Stating facts is not blaming. I know you like to take accountability, but it's also important to see the whole picture and realizing the truth. And she's perfectly right. Jan, there were other people to blame in this situation. I mean, I can't sit here and go, it was me. No, it wasn't. There was a whole party of people involved. Now, I'm not going to blame Michael in this situation. I can't. I just can't. I don't feel like I think he was even less aware than I was, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All of you were in a mind-controlling cult. Your mind is no longer being controlled, and the fallout of that is intense. You are doing great work through these complex emotions. Thank you, Melissa. Realizing, accepting, and acknowledging that you were manipulated is also taking responsibility. It takes courage and strength. Helena, thank you, babe. You're right. You were not aware, plus women or so vulnerable postpartum, even the first year. Yeah. You trusted and loved these people. They filled a hole. Hugs. Baby steps. See, that's very validating. She's right. And that's what I need to move forward with instead of tripping myself up right now going, well, like, let me get through the story before I just start chopping my own head off. Thank you for the super chat, baby steps. He thought he thought he was his dad or something. It's just so bonkers. Yes, Doug thought, hey, Miss Sassafras, that Huxley was his father from a past life. But Reese, he intimidated you. He had power over you. It wasn't like you were handing him over and partying the weekends away. Not at all. No, that's a good point too, Stella, that you make. But Tara, yeah, the point is, this has been haunting me and taking up so much room in my head for a very long time, And what happens when you let something roam in your head like that and it takes up rent-free space? What are you doing? You're giving it power. And this has owned me. I'm not giving it power. It owns me, free and clear, outright, contract signed. This isn't me just giving it some attention and life and power. This situation has absolutely kept me in a cage for a very long time. I love you too, Third Eye Open. I have to blow my nose really fast. And it's time that we talk about it. It's time that we discuss it. I got to get this off my chest. You guys have shown up very graciously to listen to me. And hey, Cliff Ann, I felt very loved and appreciated by the Argises for the first time in my life. I felt like somebody's daughter. That was the first pounce, was we always wanted a daughter, and you're perfect. You're perfect for this. Like, we love this. You're going to be Huxley's mother. You know, you're married to our son. It was very validating. I love you, Robin Miners. Just reading that. Thank you. Hey, Linda Perales. Thank you, Robin Miners. She says, so proud of you. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for saying that. It started innocently like that. And then Michael and I got married on January 16th. And then yep, that's right. I was just clocking it with my fingers. In April, I got pregnant in February. Debbie Going Strong, welcome. I got pregnant in February, and I found out I was pregnant in April. So I found out April. So that's not a lot of time from getting married. We saw each other again for the first time since he was 9, when he was 19. We got married right away. We saw each other in November, got married in January, and I found out I was pregnant in April. So all of that moved quickly. I got my house. I bought a house. Rachel, this is a good point too. After what your father did, you were looking for love of a father and family. I was looking high and low. I was using sex to cope with that. I was sleeping with random guys to try to get someone to love me and accept me. And yeah, I was trying to fill that void for sure. Rachel, it's okay to mourn the experience you so desperately wanted. You didn't offer Hux up. Those experiences were stolen from you. It's okay to mourn and place blame where it needs to be. So you make a great point. All these years, I have been making it feel like, in my mind, like I was a part of it. I was there. I allowed it. I let him take him. I offered him up. I feel like I sacrificed him. I didn't. That's not what happened. That is absolutely not what happened. That's not how it went down. It ate at me every day. It gnawed. It was a dull ache. Thank you for being a member, Rachel. Every single day. And it started, I actually saved some pictures. I spent a lot of time this afternoon. I showed a few of them the other day, but I saved some photos of like early on. So like I showed this picture the other day, but I have like, this helps me. It's painful, but it helps me to look at this. So like when I had him, he came and spent the night. The house I bought was 860 square feet. It was a shoebox. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. And that was it. It had a tiny garage. My car didn't even fit in it. Like, it was very, very small. I was proud of it. It had a really great yard with a dog door so that my dogs could go in and out, fenced in. But it was mine. I bought it. And I bought it in a pretty nice part of Kansas. It was a Overland Park, Kansas. It was 1 block from Prairie Village, Kansas, which is like the most expensive area you can buy a home right now in Prairie Village. And I was 1 block away from it. And it was just a cute little area, great school around the corner that Huxley went to. So I was proud of that. But it was a tiny house. It was a very, very tiny house. And Doug and Brenda moved in with me the day we brought Huxley home from the NICU. He was in the NICU for 2 weeks. I bought all this really cute furniture to make his room nice. I bought all these matching pieces and a changing table and an armoire, and his crib matched all the dark wood of all the same thing. And I got a glider and I had it all ready. And I was so excited about motherhood. And I remember the day he was even born, I woke up from the recovery. I was in the recovery area. Brenda didn't get off work. She would come over at 10:30 at night, Renee B, and stay up all night and hang out. I was in the recovery area, and Doug came in right then and there. And I've never said this. I've kind of forgot about it. He was a poet. Doug wrote lots and lots and lots of poems. And one of them he wrote and had professionally framed with a photo of him and his boys for Huxley's room. He wanted it like hung on this wall, this tiny room. And it was this, I think the name of that poem was called Sons. But he handed me, I'm waking up out of the recovery room. I'm so effed up on like morphine or whatever. I just had this C-section. Huxley was whisked away. I didn't see him again for 3 days. And I remember Doug coming in and he was like, here's this poem I wrote, like, read it. You have to read it. I wrote it for today. I've been like hanging on to it until the day he's born. And I was like trying to read it. And I remember being like super cloudy and just out of it. But it was this poem all about him and his connection to my son, and how they're from the same home planet, and his father took on the body of Huxley, and how like everything was meant to be this way for Doug. It was all about like, it was like circling back to Doug, like, thank you for being the vessel. Thank you for being his surrogate mother. And now I'm going to take him from you. It's like kind of the, like, how it went down, and everything changed after that third day that I was totally disconnected from Huxley. That is not how I planned any of that. And by the third day, Doug had been living in the NICU with Huxley, bonding with him, coming back and telling me in my hospital bed, he's amazing. Oh my God, wait till you see him. And like rubbing it in. And I'm just like, each hour that passed, I just sunk deeper and deeper into a depression. I was like, he doesn't even want me. Like, he doesn't need me. I guess I really was just like supposed to carry this child, but he's like, I've told you guys, when Michael, the third day, I had to have a neurologist come because the C-section was weird and I couldn't walk. Like, I was supposed to have been able to walk and I wasn't able to use my legs. So it took me like an extra day to get that going. I had to get with like a physical therapist for a little bit. It was okay. I got on my feet. And in that whole time of those 72 hours, those 3 days, Doug is going between seeing Huxley in the NICU and doing assists on me back and forth with Michael. So like Michael's doing an assist on me, then Doug would do an assist on me, then Michael, and they'd bring me food. Like, Doug was so nice to me. The only thing I wanted was mashed potatoes. Like, he would go out with Michael and get me mashed potatoes and I would eat it and then I would go back to sleep, and they would do assists on me like constantly. And each day that passed, I was just like, I'm never going to see this child. Like, I've been with him for 9 months and he's just gone. And the only indication I have that he exists is Doug swarming into my room. Like, oh, I'm so glad to be reunited with him. Like, it was like their own little club and I wasn't in it is how I felt. Um, no, Martin, not really, not at this point, but that's definitely how it felt. Like he would say weird off the wall shit like that. Like, "Oh, I'm so glad that he and I like now me." And so Doug has 2 sons, Michael and Sam. And then he had Huxley at this point. So those were like his 3. And he would come into my room and go, "I'm so glad we got the 3rd one back now." And he would go, "Me, Michael, and Sam and Huxley are all from the same home planet." And Brenda would be in the room when he would say that. This went on for years. Brenda would be in the room and I would look at Brenda like, "Yeah, it's a club and we're not in it." Like they're from the same home planet. And he would say that. Uh, and so by the 3rd day, gave up on, I was like, I wasn't meant to be a mother, I guess. Like everything that I had built in my head, you have to remember, I wanted to get pregnant. I said to Michael, "I want to have a baby. Like we're married and I want to have a baby." Like I had never wanted kids before that, just so you know. I wasn't even sure I was going to have kids. But that all changed and all of a sudden I was like, I'm feeling this. Like I'm 24, I want to have a kid. And I did what I wanted. Like I got married and I got pregnant. And this whole pregnancy I enjoyed so much. Like I loved the feeling of him in me. I could feel him dancing around. I'd play music, I'd talk to him, I'd read sometimes. It was crazy. Like I just felt it. I was so felt like this is my path. This is what I was set out to do. And I'm telling you that that died. Now, I've tried to build it back, but something ripped that apart and it's never fully gone back. Um, no, that's Scientology, Martin. That sounds like something a Scientologist would say to say we're from the same home planet. Now, to be fair, I've never heard another Scientologist ever say that. We are told we're from different planets originally, but I've never heard one say that like Doug. So, as you guys know, my pregnancy progresses and I get, I think 27 weeks. I want to say it was 27 weeks. I got my gestational diabetes test where you have to go get checked for that. I failed the test. So you have to go in then for a 3-hour, they draw blood, you drink a gross, disgusting glucose drink, and then they draw blood 3 times while you're there for 3 hours and they test it further. Well, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. I don't want to, like, you guys know this. I hate to repeat all of that, but it just, I don't know. It matters to me right now. But I got set up. My doctor set me up with a nutritionist. Like I got all this paperwork. I was told like you need to, I got the thing to check my sugars. They did not put me on medication, but they said, you're going to control this with diet. And here's all what you can eat. Here's how often you should check your sugars fasting 2 hours after you eat, things like that. Within 24 hours, the medical liaison officer at the Church of Scientology in Kansas City and Doug both told me that is a total load of shit. You eat whatever you want. Thank you, Teresa. That means a lot. You eat whatever you want. LRH never wrote anything about gestational diabetes. It's not real. You do what you want. You feed that child. They're trying to starve you because that's psychiatric bullshit drama in the world. And you just do what you want. You do what pregnant women have been doing this for millions of years, right? So I totally cast off the gestational diabetes. And that's why I didn't see him for 3 days. And that's why he was over 10 pounds and he was whisked off into a NICU, right? So that alone, I have a lot of guilt for. And I don't feel still, I'm not right with myself there but that, guys, is I'm going to stop right there. That is such a good example of how deep and easy it is to manipulate a person in Scientology. Think about that for a minute. I don't know anything about the real world. I know the Scientology world. But even seeing that nutritionist and my doctor saying like, this is what you need to do now, I was like, I don't know if I trust this. Like that we are trained at a young age. Like don't trust doctors. Don't go to the doctor. Like I never even saw the doctor until I crushed and fell on something when I was 11 and busted my whole leg open and I had to get 23 stitches in my leg. Like we didn't go to the doctor. And so it's just a good example of, what am I trying to say? It's a great example of how easy it is. All it took, I did not go seek it out for myself. All it took was Doug and Alex, the medical liaison officer, to go, that's a lie. Find me a reference where LRH talks about gestational diabetes. It's made up. Eat what you want. That's psychiatric shit. I didn't even think for a second to go, are you sure? I'm going to go Google this. I was like, okay. I believed them, but I also trusted those men. Those were what you call in Scientology my OLs, my opinion leaders. They were my opinion leaders. There's kind of a what's like pack leader type situation, like a chain of command, if you will. Hey, Sherry Taylor in Scientology. And I very much had a ton of OLs. I had a lot of opinion leaders that I would look to. Dan O'Connor was an opinion leader for me. So yeah, a hierarchy. Yes. And I followed it. I followed it very much. They told us that LRH was a doctor. Yes. And a scientist, a physicist, a colonel in the Navy, all those things. Yes. And I believed it. So Huxley's born. I don't see him for 3 days. Thank you, Sherry. And Doug's in the meantime, just loving it, eating it up, seeing Huxley, telling me how much he's enjoying getting to know him again and seeing him again because he came back just for Doug. All of this is all encapsulated. It's all for Doug. Why would LRH have spoken about it doesn't mean it was true, because LRH wrote about everything. He, to this day, is still the most prolific author. He has more books written than anyone else on planet Earth. So he covered nearly everything. It was genius, right? So if anybody had anything to say in Scientology, what did we do? What did you just say? Let's go look and see what LRH says about that. That's what every Scientologist does. What does LRH say about that? Can you show me that in writing? What policy is that? What tech bulletin is that? Can you show me in writing where LRH says that? That's all you do. That's what you pretty much do all day long. We believe everything he said, and we never think for ourselves. So if I were to say, I don't know that that's true, someone would get angry with me and go, well, what does LRH say about that? No one gives a shit what you think. Go find a policy on it, show it to her, and then force it down her throat. That's how that works. So Huxley's born, and it's just almost this like weird change of like, thank you for gifting this child to me. It was like Doug had his own beliefs. I really, it's like LRH and David Miscavige. I believe they believe this shit. I believe that. You may not agree with me. I believe that they bought their own bullshit. I think Doug, somebody left a comment yesterday, and I thought it was so eerie. Hey, Gogo the Greek. It was very eerie and uncomfortable for me to read, but it was because it was so in your face. Someone said yesterday, Doug was a cult all by himself. That's a fact. It's like he had his own house of Doug, his own cult, right? So Doug believed that I was not meant to have this child. I was simply the surrogate. I was the vessel. And Doug believed that this child was choosing Doug, was waiting. Doug told me this Thetan, which is a being, a soul in Scientology, of his father from the 70s or 80s, whenever the guy died. I never met him, right? So was sitting, this is Doug's words. He was sitting on a telephone wire as a being, waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody to come along and be a surrogate. And I was the first one. So Sam was single and in the Sea Org, his other son, but Sam now has 2 children. But I was the first one to have a child in that family. Huxley's the first grandchild. So he believes that Huxley is his father, and that this guy was waiting around just to be a part of Doug's life. Like, never mind the parents, never mind Brenda. And I was going to show you some photos. So he's born. He goes into the NICU for 2 weeks. I don't see him for the first 3 days. And when I do finally see him, he's got wires hooked up to him everywhere. He had like 2 needles in his head. He had a feeding tube going down his throat. Nancy Stitchen, it is so good to see you. Wow. Really happy to see you, Nancy, even if it's for a moment. Thank you for popping in. That's an honor. Honestly, I love that you're here. At the time, November 17th, 2009, I don't quote me on this, but I think it was swine flu was what was going around. You know, like flu season. I think it was swine flu. How much did you believe that Hux was what Doug said he was? I'm interested to know. You saw your own beliefs back then. I never bought that shit, Martin. When he would say, like, that's my dad and he picked me to come back, I was like, you are a cuckoo nutty bird. That's what I thought every time. I just resisted the idea of that. I thought that's gross and it's weird. I never bought into any of that weird shit. Scientologists used to say weird shit like, I recalled in session the other day when I blew up like these planets and I like killed billions of people with this lightsaber. They talked like that all the time. Scientologists say the weirdest shit. They would say shit like that. So for Doug to say we're from the same home planet is not anything I hadn't heard before. But I'll tell you, I was never one of them to talk like that. I was never one of them to be like, oh yeah, I blew up in this one galaxy. Like, okay, like that's just the weirdest dick swinging on steroids thing you could. I mean, that's worse than the cellist. Get out of here. So swine flu. I believe it was swine. If not, it was some kind of a flu, bird flu. I don't know. Michael and I talk about it, Renee? We didn't really talk about it. I think Michael might have believed it. I don't really know Michael's stance on that. I don't remember. I remember looking at Michael and Brenda several times when Doug would talk about it in a room, and I'd be like, yeah, somebody needs to check on Grandpa. Like, it bothered me every time he did it. So while Hux was in the NICU and even Doug and Michael, so they hadn't been able to hold him yet. They held him. Okay. Thanks, Sophia. So when I finally on day 3 get to go see him, Doug shows up. I'm in the NICU it was in the afternoon when I finally got released. Okay. I'm in the NICU. Hey, Jeanette Brown, it's sometime in the afternoon. I don't know, an hour. I'm crying. I'm holding him. I'm meeting him for the first time. It's very emotional for me. I'm looking at all these needles and he's hooked up to shit. All I can think is this is my fault. I know this is my fault because I didn't listen to the doctor. Okay. Because the doctors are Satan and as a Scientologist, and I didn't listen. And I'm rocking in a chair and I'm holding him, and there's NICU nurses everywhere. And I probably had him for an hour, maybe. And of course, Doug shows up. And he comes in and swoops him out of my arms, like takes him right out of my arms, and doesn't say much to me. He's just all about Huxley. So he like picks him up and he's like, hi. And he talks to him like, this is my father from a galaxy ago. And he goes over to the corner of the room and he's walking around with him. And he's like, this is your left hand. He's like, you'll get acclimated into your body again. Don't worry. You'll get everything down. Not really, Renee B., although the NICU nurses were super kind. The NICU doctor was fantastic. But he's walking around and he's like, here's your right foot. Here's your left foot. And he's like, here's your ear. Where's your nose? There it is. He's like, don't worry. You'll get back into the body. It'll be like a bicycle. And he just swiped him right up out of my arms. First hour and a half of me seeing him. So I'm told nobody's allowed in the NICU except the parents. So I'm like, why is he here? Like, I start getting angry and I'm like, why is he here? And I find out, I didn't even know, the NICU nurses tell me that Doug because he was an ordained minister within the Church of Scientology, and he tells the NICU nurses, the staff, that he is our family pastor. He doesn't say I'm grandpa. He manipulates the system to get past swine flu, and he tells everybody in the NICU that he is our family pastor. Thank you, Wendy Brewer. And he had been doing that. This was day 3. He'd been getting in and like bulldozing his way in, apparently. Like he was telling them, like, I need to see the child. They want me to see the child. They've requested it. I'm their family pastor. This is just such a bullshit. And so he swoops him out of my arms. Again, I'm emotional as shit. I've got 19 staples across my abdomen from my recent being gutted of the child removed and taken from me. And once again, he's taken from me. And Doug just walks off with him. And hey, live the 444 dream. So I'm like, here's what I do the whole time. I get in my little digs when I can. So I don't do it if it's not appropriate. I don't want to get caught or in trouble by Doug. I'm terrified of Doug. To this day, I'm scared of Doug. I'm afraid to do this stream. He has haunted and taken up so much room in my life. I associate Huxley with Doug. I associate Michael with Doug. Doug has just absolutely been like overwhelmingly in our space since the day my kid was born, literally. So I'm like, why is he here? Like, I was told that I was mad about it because my mom wanted to come see Huxley. And I asked the NICU staff and they were like, absolutely not. Nope, only parents. And I was like, then why the F is Pastor Phil here? What's going on? I was like, why is Doug in here? And she was like, well, that's your guys' family pastor. Like, you requested him. And I was like, that's his grandfather. And not long after that, he left and he tried to come back. And I was there. After I saw Huxley for the first time, I didn't leave. He was in the NICU for 2 weeks. I went home to sleep because I couldn't be in the hospital anymore. And I would get up and come every morning and spend the entire day with Huxley. I'd go back at lunch, get something to eat. My house was 7-8 minute drive from the hospital. It was perfect. I'd let my dog out and then I'd come back. Well, he tried to come back the next day. He's still abusing this, right? And he comes back the next day. And I told the nurses, I said, this guy is going to show up and I don't want him here. I'm trying to see my kid. Does anybody mind? Like, can I meet my son for a minute? And this NICU doctor was a badass woman. She was a neonatal surgeon. And I'm grateful for this woman. To this day, I feel like she was God sent. She did not F around. This woman was like, her presence was very like, she was firm and stern. And Doug comes to the door and I'm in there and he's like, I'm their family pastor. And he comes in, the nurse lets him in. And the NICU neonatal doctor, she just happened to be there. She wasn't there very often, but she came in to do rounds and check on the babies, right? And she was so kind to me. And she just, see, you don't butt heads with Doug. And Doug, if you're a woman, if you have a vagina, forget about it. He's going to bulldoze the shit out of you. I've seen him do it to every woman I've ever been around. He is top dog. And she got right in his face and she just stood between me and Huxley. And he put up a fight. And he was like, I'm going to stay. He was like, I have permission to stay. I'm their family pastor. And she was like, I'm not asking of anything. She was like, you're out or I'm calling security. Like, you're in a NICU where if you've been asked to leave, you're violating the rules. She was like, you've seen this child enough. You've had your time with him. She was like, you need to go. He will be released eventually and you can see him then, but you're not welcome back. And she just like put it right back on him. And he left. And it was amazing because then I got to spend roughly about the next week and a half pretty much alone with Huxley because Michael worked. He went back to work and I had 6 weeks off for from my job for pregnancy leave, whatever they call that. And it was great. And then Huxley came home. He finally got to come home. I think he was in for almost exactly 2 weeks because he was born on a Tuesday, and I want to say he came home on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And I wasn't home with him. He got discharged in the afternoon. I wasn't home with him for 2 hours before Doug showed up, and Doug never left. He stayed at my house and slept at my house. The first night, the glider in his room, everything I had set up, all the decorating, all of that was overwhelmingly taken over by Doug. I didn't get to sleep anywhere near Huxley the first night. He slept in that glider in his room. He took over. And Brenda showed up after she got off post at about 10:30. And that went on for months. They came and stayed in my 860 square foot home. Brenda would sleep on the couch and get up at like 3:34 in the morning, drive back to their house up north, which was 45 minutes away, get ready for post, and then go to work at the Church of Scientology, get off and come back to my house and stay at my house. Nobody was asked to do this. They just bulldozed their way in. And I didn't get to, like, there was no getting up to feed him. I had to make the barley formula, which is a formula written by L. Ron Hubbard. We're not allowed to breastfeed in Scientology. He writes a policy about it. And I had to make all of the food for Huxley, which was a barley formula that is, again, written by L. Ron Hubbard. So I made all the formula, and Doug would get up and feed him. Doug did everything. Like, I was truly the surrogate for this child. I was no longer entitled to the child. And I was going to show you this photo. This is a photo. My dog, Gary, my Chihuahua, and Doug and Huxley when he was an infant. And this was every day in my house. Every day. I never held Huxley. Nope, we can't breastfeed. Live the 444 dream. I think, I mean, looking back at all of this, the whole purpose is, one, no one has a single child in Scientology. A child is everybody's kid in Scientology, but you are forced, you can never have any connection with anybody. You can't have any connection with anyone. Oh, I had a C-section and I was driving right away. Here's Doug. You guys have seen this. This is such a cute picture of Huxley. Here's Doug. He's an infant here holding Huxley at a Scientology event. Again, Doug, just people would come up to me and go, "Your baby is so cute. I wish I could have seen him." Doug wouldn't let me anywhere near him. And I would go, "Yeah, I didn't even get to bring him here. He came with Doug in a separate vehicle. I don't get to hold him either. I just make the barley formula and I get to see him like once a day." Yeah. This is how that would go down. Huxley was so cute, but nope, there's Doug. That is him in action, holding on to Huxley, nestled under his wing. He wouldn't let anybody hold him. Here's Doug at a Scientology event with Huxley. They showed up together. It was some cowboy event at a hotel that they took over. I think he was really, hey, Chow Yensma, I think he was really creepy with his own kids. Here's Huxley at a birthday party at my parents' house in Kansas City at the time. And Brenda and Doug are in this photo. And you can see, you watch these photos very carefully. I want you guys to look at the body language of these photos. He holds on to, he takes, it's like, give him to me. Watch, look at this. Like, who is he pulling Huxley toward? There's Brenda in her uniform getting off post to come to her own grandkid's birthday party. Look at that. Brenda's all dressed up because she just came from work. Couldn't get the day off for that one. I agree, Martin. Here he is at Huxley's school. Notice, look at the body language. Look at how possessive he is. Did you ever express to Michael how you felt about Doug doing this? Don't have to answer if you know, or maybe realize later. Roll Tide, welcome in. I expressed it to Michael all the time. Michael was incredibly weak. He was not about to go. Nobody was going to go up against Doug. Doug was very intimidating. He was very scary. He made himself big. Look at this photo I found today. Sam flew in from the Sea Org at the airport, and here's an airport photo. Doug Huxley. Here you go. I'll just let it speak for itself. He constantly had control of my child. Constantly had control of my child. Nobody got to hold Huxley but Doug. Nobody ever got to hold Huxley. Oh, I found a creepy picture of Dan O'Connor holding Huxley. That was at a church event. There's Fax Man Dan holding on to my kid. Now we'll just pause real quick. To just get into something really, I found this just while I was, that's a great question. I'll tell you in a moment. Look at his school picture. Look at my child's hair. Look at how cute. I know I showed a bunch of pictures the other day. I'm not going to do that today. He does look like me there. I feel like he has my eyes there. How cute is that? Just that hair, guys. Just that hair alone is, remember the hair? Look at the hair. He had his dad's hair. So cute. He was such a cute little boy. Huxley was such a cute little boy. His hair. Robert Plant. Little angel face. I'm going to go back to your question. Turn my brightness back up. What would you say to Doug if you could go back? So if I could go back in time, see, here's the thing. This is a great question because if I could go back, and I am not the person I used to be. I don't even think almost I'm recognizable. And I don't mean when I first came onto YouTube. I'm talking about when Huxley was born. I was this very easy to manipulate little, so like, let's take, like, I would never ever like have let Jeff hit on me at Fred's funeral today. I'm a different woman today. I stand very firmly on what I know and what I believe. And I knew nothing and I believed in nothing back then. I believed whatever you told me. I believed whoever told me whatever. I would just, yes, okay, that sounds true. There's no heaven. Okay, I believe it because LRH wrote it. So what would I do now if I could go back? I think I said it at the beginning of this stream. I would have said, you can absolutely, I would have recognized the predatorial behavior and I probably would have moved. But before moving, I would have set up some serious boundaries and I would have said, this is my child. You will never mention in this house anything about how you're from the same home planet or he's your father or any of those things will not be said in my home. I would have not accepted any money from him. I have to blow my nose again, guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting nasally because I'm feeling like crying. Hold on. I wouldn't have not accepted any financial help. Hey, Time Mark. I would have set the stage and I would have said, we're playing by my rules because it's my kid, or you don't see him. The other thing I would absolutely have, sorry, I have a cat hair. The other thing that would have taken place is he would have never begun the process of taking my child. He began spending the night at my home for the first 3 months or so. And then at about 4 to 6 months, he took Huxley every single Friday through Sunday until he turned 13. He took him for every single holiday. I never once had a Thanksgiving with my son until 2 years ago. Never. He took him on Christmas morning and he would take all the gifts that I bought for him. He would come to my home. Alicia, not all of it. He would come into my home mid-Christmas morning about 10:30, and he would take all of the gifts, load them into his car, and he would take Huxley. So I didn't get to spend holidays with my son. I didn't get to ever spend a weekend with him. I would, in the beginning, when it first all started happening, it was very like by design. And I think that's why they did the like, let us pay for everything. Let us unburden you. I'll never forget him saying, I make all this money. If I can't help my children, who am I? Brenda is just as guilty in all of this. I feel like she's the Ghislaine Maxwell of the story. No question. And I'm sorry, guys, that may break some hearts in here. Doug lives in Clearwater, Florida now with his family, Brenda and his son, Sam, and their 2 kids and Sam's wife. Some of you may feel sensitive about Brenda. I do not. I have worked through that. I feel in the very beginning, I'm trying to explain this. In the very beginning, I would say things like, I don't want you to take him this weekend. I was gonna, and he'd go, oh, we already made plans. Sorry. And then eventually I would go, can I have him this weekend? He'd be like, no, I'm going to take him to Sea Life Aquarium and we got tickets to this. And then we're going to a baseball game. And I mean, he would just fill Huxley's weekends. That was the other thing. They didn't just go sit at the house. Doug really did have money. He got season passes to Legoland, the zoo, the Sea Life Aquarium. They rode the little, what's that thing downtown in Kansas City? It's like a train, but it's not. It's like more updated than a train. They rode on that thing. They would go to the park. He would buy Huxley everything all weekend. And then by the time Huxley would come home, I was chopped effing liver. Like I couldn't meet those standards. I couldn't live up to that. He'd come home with a drum set and Legos and toys and also just spending an entire 3 days with him every week of doing nothing but fun. Go, go, go. Right. I was never invited. No. And the other thing was, I've said this, was very strange about Huxley's diet up until he was about 5. I was, oh, Time Mark, I'm really sorry to hear that. It never gets easier, and I'm very sorry. I was, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was saying right before that. Oh, the diet. Yes. Thank you, Renee B. I was really kind of a stickler about that. Sleep and food, were the only 2 things I felt like I could have control over, if that makes sense. And I always I was weird about it. I was very weird about it. I would try to make Huxley go to bed at like 7:30 at night. I wanted him to get like a full 12 to 13, 14. I wanted him to get as much hours of sleep. And the kid was a sleeper. Huxley turned 16, Bella's mom, on Monday. He was a good sleeper. He's like me. We have very similar, like you can tell we're cranky if we don't get enough sleep. Huxley's the same way. And we're good sleepers. And so I always took advantage of that. I never had a baby that didn't sleep well. So I was like, I want him to get plenty of sleep. I always pushed that. And same with food. I never, ever, ever allowed Huxley to have sugar. I was very weird about that. So I would like chop up and make a bunch of his stuff in my own blender. Like when he would eat baby food, I would make it. I always wanted it to be organic. I was just weird about stuff. I don't know why. I really didn't want him to have sugar. I do know why. Probably because of my mistake with the gestational diabetes. And I was trying to make up for that. I did not want to. This kid was born into a life of his sugars being off the charts high because of his stupid mother who didn't follow the advice of a doctor. So I was very strict about him having any sugar. I never allowed it. And Doug violated all of that. Like I would call when he was 3, 4, 5, and I would say, he's in bed, right? It's 7:30 at night, and they would be at like a diner. They'd be at like a Denny's eating, and he would get him like sugary foods, and he'd be eating pie. And I was just like, and he'd go, I got this. I'm fine. I know how to take care of him. Thank you. Like he would just hang up on me. It was so insulting. If I could even get Doug to pick up the phone. But I would hear Huxley in the background screaming, and they'd be in a restaurant or they'd be at some kid's place, like a Showbiz Pizza. And I'd be like, oh, I'm sure Tiffinisms. Yeah. I'd be like, why isn't he in bed? And I would get fire breathing when that would happen. I had no control at this point anymore. By the time Huxley was 2, it was over. Doug took him, and it was like, it's like Doug signed papers that he was his. I had zero control over anything. And so when I could get him to pick up the phone, I'd go, why isn't he in bed? And Doug would be like, we're getting ready to get home. We're fine. We're good. You don't need to call. Okay. I know I have 2 of these of my own. I know how to take care of a child. Like he would just reprimand me. And I wasn't done. I would be so angry by those calls that he'd hang up on me that I would take it to Brenda, and I would take it to Michael, and I would say, your husband, I would go, your father has abducted my child. Like, I don't even have a kid. I don't have any rules to put in on him. I remember one time I said no to Huxley with Doug and Brenda on some weekend night when we were all out to dinner. He was like 3. And Doug and Brenda scolded me in front of my own child in public. And they did it more than once, but I remember the first time it happened. And I said, Huxley, no. I was yelling at him. And they said, oh. Doug was like, we do not ever say no to him. He was like, you don't say no to him. Do you understand? Doug just like ripped my ass. And Brenda was like, we don't say no. She was like, we misdirect. Okay. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? And she was like, let me give you an example. If he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing, she was like, here's what you do. You go over where he's doing what he shouldn't be doing, and you go, hey, great job. Come with me. Wow. Let's look at this. And you misdirect the child. And I was like, yeah, that's not, I only just found your channel. You sound like a mom who tried her best. We all try our best. That's all we can do. We don't care any guilt. Well, you sound like the perfect person to be here, Bella's mom, and welcome in. I really enjoy having new people. I hope that you'll stay and come back because this is right up your alley, girl. I hope that you'll stick around. It sounds like you have some good advice. And I pulled Brenda aside at a barbecue restaurant when Huxley was little. And I said, this isn't going to fly. He has taken over my kid. And how did Doug have money? He was an orthodontist. And she said to me in this restaurant, she was like looking around. She was all nervous. And she was like, look, he's in charge. And she was like, what? Doug is the financial supporter of this family. And she was like, including you. And she was like, he helps pay your bills, does he not? And I was like, yeah, but I thought that was my son. And she was like, do not cross Doug. She was like, do not challenge Doug. Doug is in charge. She was like, he is in charge of our spiritual freedom. She was like, he's in charge of our finances. And she was like, it's best to just let Doug do what Doug is going to do. And she was like, do not challenge him or he will get very and theta. And theta means the opposite of theta. So it's just like ugly, rigid. The monster is going to come out. And I was like, how is that? And she was like, just don't do it. And she said, you'll find out if you do it. So don't do it. Her word, she always used this word. I never use this word. She would go, Doug can get very gnarly very easily. Do not cross him. Thank you, Bella's mom. And I feel like I really get why this bothers you so much. Even as a man, the situation isn't hard to understand why it would just be horrible constantly all the time. It was. I feel like I was trying to parent my kid with my hands tied behind my back. I felt like I was like, no, he can't. Like, let me, like, I couldn't like make a move. And it started with, how I want to help you. You're our daughter. And then it got uglier and it got weirder. And as time went on, it was like Brenda going, he pays your bills, does he not? Best to keep quiet then. And I was like, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. And I'm in too deep. And that's how I felt. I was like, these people run the show. And then the bigger show is Scientology. And Scientology is going to back Doug and Brenda, not me. So I knew that there was no way either for me to go to the org and be like, I want to have a chaplain cycle, which would be like a family meeting with a chaplain. And there was no way I was going to win that. There was no way. Doug truly was giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the organization. He was paying for all of us. There was no way I was going to win that battle. So I watched it happen after that. It was not that long after that barbecue restaurant that I got to see it in action. And again, I got to see the gnarly come out. And Brenda we going out to dinner. The optics of having a healthy family was like extremely important to these people. So we were very proper, and we would go out to dinner at least twice a week. Now, sometimes Brenda would only be able to come one time, but Doug always set it up Fridays and Sundays, sometimes Saturday nights. And yes, live the 444 dream. And I remember I ate in so many restaurants over those years, and we were in this restaurant and he came unglued. And see, yelling triggers me big time. We all can figure that out why, right? Like being bull baited from the age of 4, screamed at, yelled at, like doing that to people, like just trying to get a rise out of you. It freaks me out. And yelling is not my go-to. I am not a yeller. I'm pretty much go straight to crying. Like that's my thing. I break down and I get really upset, but I don't yell at people. I don't snap at people. It's hard to get me to do that. And so from a young age, my dad used to scream at us. So I do not like that. I do not like being around people who cannot control their emotions and start yelling. I won't be your friend. I won't be married to you. I will never do that again. I subjected myself to that with Jeff. I subjected myself to that in a lot of situations. I will be alone the rest of my life before I'll ever be around anyone that yells at me. Like, point made. Okay. We're in this restaurant. It was called The Tavern in Prairie Village, Kansas. And we're in a booth, and Brenda said it was just like the most light thing. I don't even know what the subject was. It wasn't like this heated debate. She never did that to him. And I remember her going, well, Doug, I don't know that I think. And he just was like, Brenda. He was like, shut your fucking mouth. Like he just lost his shit. I was like, I was so freaked out. And that was early on. He did that 50 more times after that. Like we all got to witness it. And Michael and I, every time it happened, would do this. Oh God. We would like slink down in our chairs and try to become invisible in the restaurant. Like I would look at the staff and I'd be like I was so mortified by that. I was so embarrassed and triggered, right? Like super triggered. Jeff and Doug got along immediately. Yeah. Jeff and Doug were pals from the start. They had everything in common. But it only happened to me once. It happened to me once, and Huxley was like 5 at this point, and I got into an argument in a restaurant with Doug, and he did that to me. He tried to shut me down and silence me, and it was over a dog. We've talked about this. I rescued a dog. The dog was a fence jumper, and I kept trying to keep the dog, but I had to go get the dog. I got a ticket for it once. I had to go to court over it because it was a fence jumper, and I couldn't get it. I didn't have a high enough fence, and I ended up not being able to keep the dog because it just wouldn't stay in my yard. But I tried. It was a black lab that I found, and she was just at the shelter, and I loved her. Her name was Jade. And Doug was arguing with me about this dog. And he and Brenda both felt like animals don't matter. Who gives a shit? It's an animal. Like a lot of Scientologists feel that way. Like, who cares? It's a reactive mind. Like animals aren't beings. They're just robots. They're not real. Like I get fiery rage when people would say that, right? Because my animals were everything to me. Animals are everything to me. I love animals. When Huxley was born, I sat Michael down. I had my Chihuahua, Gary, and I said, when he gets older, we will never be the parents that like allow the kid to go yank on the animal's ears. I had a cat too. We will never allow like abuse of an animal because it's cute and the toddler's just going to pick it up and throw it like some parents do. It makes me insane. Like I was like, we will never allow that. Do you understand? I was like, my dog and my animals are very important to me and they will never be abused. I don't care if it's my own child. I was just real weird about that. So I was having that conversation about this dog, Jade, in this restaurant. And something came up where Doug was like baiting me. I could feel it. And he was like, who cares? It's a dog. Who gives a shit? He was like, who cares if Huxley kicks it in the head? And I was like, okay, like rage unlocked. And I had never gone head to head with Doug. I have always been afraid of him, but that really made me snap. And I was like, I remember leaning in on that table and I was like, my son won't ever do that to an animal. And he was like, it's a dog. And I was like, it ain't gonna happen. Like I was like flipping out over the breadsticks in front of me. I was like spitting on the food. And he was like, something about, I can't remember it, but I'll never forget his face. He goes, something about, he said, you would choose a dog over your own child, which is absurd. That's not what was happening. It's like, don't hear what I didn't say, but okay, let's play this game. And I said, I will never allow anybody to abuse an animal in front of me. I was like, that's the argument I'm making. And he was like, you're showing suppressive person tendencies. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what kind of tendency. I was breathing fire at this point. And he was like, you're an evil person. And I was like, then I guess I am, Doug. And it got loud. Like we started yelling in this restaurant. And Brenda was like, Doug. She was like, Doug. And she was like, Reese, stop baiting him. She was like, you know, he gets gnarly. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was so mad. Now that's the only time that happened. He took everything out on Brenda. He would rip her to shreds in public. And it was the most uncomfortable. He got more and more used to it because he would do it in front of us. In the beginning, it took a minute and then he would do it. And I would always pull her aside after the restaurant was over and we'd be walking to the car and he'd be carrying Huxley and, you know, keeping him close. And I would go, are you all right? And she'd be like, it's okay. You know how he gets gnarly. Like you just can't push him. He can't handle, he gets very rigid. And that was the loop we were stuck on. And I would say to Michael, like, do you see a problem with this? Like your dad, everything is owned by your father. We have no say in anything. We don't own anything. Nothing is ours. Nothing belongs to us. And everything that he says goes. And Michael, again, was this like anxious little, right? Like you couldn't get Michael to stand up for himself for anything. He's not going to stand up for any of us. And that's not anything I hold him accountable. It's not like he was some asshole guy that was like, So what? Deal with it. No, 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 no. He was just as abused by this man from day one. I can't imagine the stories that went on there. I only got it later in life, right? And so I could not rely on Michael to have some masculine energy that he'd never had before. You have to understand, I'm asking him to do something he's never had. Makes me think of like my father, right? Like, why didn't he love me? Because he didn't have it to give. He wasn't withholding, he wasn't omitting. He never had it to offer in the first place. Michael didn't have this like masculinity where he was going to rear his ugly head to his father. And he's still that way. 16 years later, he's a little bit worse. So Brenda was showing classic abused woman syndrome, and it had gone on for so long, she also became a perpetrator. Yep. And I don't feel sorry for her. And that may sound ugly to a lot of you. I'm sorry, but I went through too much and I witnessed too much. And we can only play the dumb I didn't know for so long. She knows. At this point, she knows. She knows that all of this is wrong. It's abusive. It's ugly. Doug is unhinged. He gets rigid, telling Michael that this had to be the beginning of the marriage. Yes. And let's not also forget the fact that, you know, Huxley's staying with Doug every weekend of his life, every holiday until he's 13. And I've talked about this before, and it's a very sensitive topic. It's a very sensitive subject, and I'm just going to skate over it just for part of the story. But Huxley comes home one weekend when he's 6 years old, and he's telling me about his weekend, and he's telling me about, he skates over really quickly about Doug showering with him. And I said, what? Like, I stopped showering with him at 2. I would sit on the toilet and sit there with him while he was in the shower or the bath. I didn't leave him, but I didn't get in with him. And I was like, what? And I said, does he always do that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I called Brenda and I said, what the hell is this about? Hi, Kay. So glad I could make it here. I thought this live was going to happen much sooner. I'll go back to catch up when it's over. I love you, Kay. And I'm just glad you made it, girl. Thank you. Thank you for your super chat. And I had to go to Brenda for everything. I had to go through Brenda to get to Doug because I just didn't, to be honest, that's because of me. I was afraid to ever talk to him about anything heavy. He would have bitten my head right off if I would have gone to him, and we would have butt heads. I always had to go through her. She was the mediator, right? And I said, what? And I was not afraid of her at all, by the way. Like, I went straight to her and I said, what the hell is this? I would have never gone to Doug and said, what the hell is this? I was way too scared of him. His whole demeanor, his presence, everything. He made himself big and he made himself scary. I know men who do that. Jeff would do that to me too, to intimidate me. They make themselves really scary and intimidating, and it works. It works like a charm because I was raised that way, right? So like, I don't know that I would be so easy to intimidate or put into a state of fear these days. Again, if I could go back in time, I would tell Doug and Jeff to go fuck themselves. I would never put up with that behavior ever. No one's going to do that to me ever again. So, yes. I got distracted again. Oh, so I'm like, what's going on? So she says to me, this is where it's like, I don't feel sorry for her. This is the moment, though, where I should have pulled the rug out and said, no more going there. So she says, what's wrong with it? And I said, everything's wrong with it. He's a grandfather. I'm his mother, and Michael, his father, doesn't shower with him at 6. We don't even do that. So he's a grandfather. He's a grown, disgusting grandfather of a man, a tall tree of a man, taking a shower with him. And she goes, I guess I'll ask him to stop. And I said, no, he won't come to your house anymore. If this ever happens again, he won't ever come to your house again. And she goes, okay. And I said, what are the sleeping arrangements? And she goes, he sleeps with them. And she goes, he slept with our boys until they were 12. 12. It's exactly what she said to me. He slept with our boys until they were 12. Hey, Sweeney Todd, thank you for being here. Hey, Barbara Waite. And I just said, that stops. That stops. And she said, okay, I'll ask him to stop. And I said, no, never. We're never going to do a shower again. The sleeping habit was rough because I slept with Huxley a lot. I let him sleep with me a lot. We would take naps together. Like, that was rough. But at that age, I was like, he has his own bed at Doug and Brenda's house. And there's no reason he shouldn't be sleeping in that bed. But the showering, I was like, I'll never hear of that happening. And I said, and I will be questioning him about it every weekend he comes home. Never again. So that was, yeah, it was Kay Thompson. Yeah. Holly Day says, I would hate to unpack poor Michael. That's a whole can of worms that, guys, I don't even know. I know all of Michael's past and history as far as Scientology and the force and the things that happened to him there and the crying and the breaking of his spirit, but he's never given up his dad. If there's something to give up. I'm not saying that Doug abused Michael and Sam. I have no idea. I don't know the answer to that. But he was abusive toward my kid. He was grooming him, and he was Rachel Sandy, I don't know anything about Michael's current life, so I don't know. So this went on until he was 13. And every single time I would try to say, hey, I'd like to keep him this weekend, he would say, not going to happen. So I feel stronger already talking this out. We've been talking for an hour and a half. I feel much better already. I don't feel nervous or afraid like I did when I started this stream. This had to have helped me in some way. I'm going to work really hard to not allow myself to blame. I blame myself all the time for this. And to be honest, my own mother does that. She blames me. Like, she will say to me, well, if you wouldn't have let him go with Doug, like, we probably wouldn't be having, like, a lot of things will come up that like have nothing to do with anything. And my mom will say like, well, maybe you shouldn't have let Doug raise him. And I'm just like, oh, that stings, And so but she's not wrong. That's the thing too. I don't correct her. She's not wrong. If he thought he was his father, it makes me wonder what that relationship was like. Totally. Liz, I'm glad to see you're still here. I'm going to work really hard to try to break that feeling of this was all my fault, because I have thought that for years. I've thought, yeah, Roll Tide, I understand. Yeah. This has had power over me. You didn't know you had a choice to let him go with Doug. That is the salient point. I don't know what that word means. Salient. You need to make with your mom. Thank you, Christine Wilson. This has had so much control over me for such a long time. And I think that he came bulldozing into my life and changed the entire dynamic of what I thought motherhood was. I had this idea when I was carrying Huxley, and that all changed when I had Huxley. And I was so excited to get to know him. And I had all these like hopes and dreams and goals with him. And that was completely rocked. And none of it ever happened. None of those hopes and dreams and goals took place. I got my child Monday through Thursday of every week until he turned 13. And even on Monday through Thursday, Doug would usually come Monday and Wednesday or Monday and Thursday nights to pick Huxley up after school and take him to eat dinner and bring him back home at 9 o'clock. So even the weeknights, he would come get him, take him from me for 3-4 hours, and bring him back. I very rarely got to know or raise my son. And I don't know to this day. I will tell you, like, it makes me think of the time that I called Doug once and he had Huxley in the car. It was a weekend. Huxley was little. He was like, "Thank you, daughter of the king." I don't know, 7. And I was like, "Is he eating this?" And I was like, "Make sure he doesn't get any sugar." And he was blowing me off. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 I know." He was like, "I know how to do this." Thank you, Bella's mom. I'm really glad you're here. Um, Salient means most important. Salient point is the most important point to make. Wow. I did not know that. I've never heard that word before. I hope I said it right. Thank you. And he said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know." He was like, "I know. We're good. Thanks." And he thought he hung up the phone and he didn't. And I heard him say, Huxley said, "Don't tell my mom." He was like, "Don't tell my mom." And Doug said, "Don't worry." He was like, "I'm never going to tell your mom." He was like, "I won't tell your mom. Of course, I'm not going to tell your mom." So, like, even things like that, memories like that are like scarred and burned into me. And I think what we have to do after today is, hey, Kathy Burkhart, I know, but Cricket, she says, the two of you have such a bond now speaks tremendously about your parenting skills. I appreciate that. But see, the good news is he's not going to remember much of that. Like, of course, he's not going to remember the showering thing, probably. He's not going to remember all the fights in the restaurants, but I will. And I feel like it has taken such a toll on me as a mother. It tore through and destroyed everything that I had up here and planned for my child and for us as a family. And hey, Shay, you haven't said much because I think you just needed to process. Just remember you did the best you could and are still getting stronger. That was done to you. Baby steps, I'm so glad you were here for this. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for saying that. She's right. This is what I mean. Going forward, I have to somehow train myself and change the idea that, like, this is all my fault. I am picking up broken ass pieces now and the aftermath of Doug and Brenda. It is an absolute shit show. And I said it the other day and I'll say it now. They did way more damage than my father did, because at least my dad said, "F you. I don't want anything to do with you. Don't call me ever again. Don't call me dad. I don't care about you. I'm not helping you. Go away. You're a degraded being. I'm embarrassed by you." Honestly, I would rather that. Rip the Band-Aid off, man. Like, at least stab me in the front. Doug and Brenda were insidious and they were evil. And what they did was beyond, to me, demonic. Scientology itself, they just followed the system. You break up families, you put a wedge into them. Thank you, Rachel. It was so planned and so by fucking design that I look back at, just even now, all the stuff I've talked about in the last hour and a half, it rocks my world when you go through the motions of, like, the moment he was born, bringing that poem in to the recovery room where I was, like, explaining to me that, like, that's my kid, not mine, his. Him laying out the boundaries, lying to the NICU staff that he's our family minister. Like, all of this was planned. You see that, right? I didn't see that. Some of it I'm just seeing tonight. Gina, I haven't seen you in forever. It amazes me you had such a natural sense of right and wrong, even though you raised yourself. You were stuck in a hard place with Doug Reese. You did the best you could. Did I, though, Gina? I mean, I appreciate that, but like, did I have the sense of right and wrong? I didn't do anything about it. I beat my head against a wall about it. It made me enraged most of Huxley's childhood. I was angry. Almost the entire childhood, I was like looking at Brenda and Michael for help. I was like wringing their necks. I was like, why are we letting this happen? Why can't you do anything? It's your husband. It's your dad. I was like, why can't you guys do anything? And looking back, because they were so beaten down by his ways, he had established top dog way before I ever came into the picture. Those two were terrified of him, and it was all over their faces. Michael slumped down in a chair. He had nothing to say. Michael didn't even say to me, like, don't talk back to him. Brenda was like, everybody just don't say anything. Like, just, it was insane. But they came along as like sprinkling sugar on me, going, you're our daughter. We love you. You're going to be our child, our son's wife. Oh, we're going to pay your bills. Like, they came in as these sweet people. At least my dad showed his colors to me. I think I struggle more with the story, the tale of Doug and Brenda, the damaging tale of Doug and Brenda versus the damaging tale of my father, because he was just, what you saw was what you got. It was very black and white. He laid it out for you. You are not the same scared, insecure Reese. You are becoming a strong, capable person, and you will never allow anyone to treat you that way again. Thank you, Joan. Point well taken. They normalized abuse. Your awareness is setting you free. Thank you, Live the 444 Dream. Baby Steps says, this may be something you and Hux discuss in the future. It may help him. Even young children are impacted more than most give them credit for. Baby Steps, thank you for your super chat. It's so true. And I will just say this. I have, over these last 3 years, because Doug left him when he was 13, I have had very deep talks with Huxley about this. And I have asked Huxley very uncomfortable questions. Like, just anything being done, any memories of that. And I don't want to overdo it. I'm not a therapist, but I also just want to make sure that I'm not missing something, right? Like, there were some signs there, in my opinion, of abuse. And I just want to make sure that if that occurred, he will be held accountable for it, right? The moment you were pregnant, he started his attack. Don't you see? You were being abused just as Huxley was. I do see that. Yeah. What could you do? I'm putting myself in your position. I can't see myself doing anything about it. It's not like you could just say no. I could not say no. That was not an option. And the two people that I was closest to, Michael and Brenda, absolutely were like more broken than I was. I at least had a little fight in me. I was like, what is this? We can't allow this. And then eventually I was like, oh, okay, we allow this. He pays the bills. He's the patriarch. He's in charge. This has all been set up in motion before I came along. Like, the contract is signed, you're done. It's almost like I feel like I made a deal with Satan. That's how it feels. Like, I just signed everything over without knowing it. I didn't know what was about to happen. I didn't know he was going to take over the life of him. You didn't have the tools for the job at the time. You've grown so much since then. I'm proud of you. Alicia, thank you. And I'm glad that you're here. If Brenda couldn't do anything, what did you expect to be able to do? Doug sounds like a force. I see that you tried. You knew shower sleeping arrangements were wrong. Yeah, he was an absolute force. Fall in line. Yes. They isolated you and beat you down. And normally, like, a sentence like this, Sophia, I'm like, I would reject that because I'm like, I'm not a victim. We are trained, hey, Amy Edge, hardcore in Scientology. There's no such thing as a victim. Don't even say the word. Like, there are no victims. Now, learning now, I understand that there are victims, and I'm not shaming other victims, but I hate to say, like, he isolated me and beat me down. It makes me feel like I'm saying, like, I'm this helpless victim. What would you call it, though? He did isolate me. He did beat me down. He absolutely did. He was deceitful. He used intimidation tactics. He lied through his teeth. He took over. He slowly took over. And then it was fast It happened slow. It started slow and then it was fast. And before I knew it, my kid was 13 years old and I hadn't had a Thanksgiving with him. Never had one. Not one. The world was hidden from you. How could you have known anything then? It's just hard to admit that, Joan. It's hard to accept that. Thank you, Wendy Brewer. Deborah Ricci says, you 100% stood up, but there was no support. You knew to say no to showers and sleeping. Yeah. Thank you, Renee B. Kat, a therapist helped me forgive myself for past parenting decisions by pointing out that I can't hold myself responsible for what I know now back then. It's so accurate. And why is that hard for me to swallow? I think today, and Kat, I love you. Thank you for being a member, babe. I think today we planted the seed. That's the best I can do. I think today I planted the seed. You fought and clawed your way to where you are today. I really did. That's a fact. I don't even think it's about having the tools. That's like saying the black slaves didn't have tools to say no to their slave owners. Sounds like impossible. I think I understand what that means. What you're saying is like they didn't even know, they didn't have the tools to even know to escape or get out or know that they were being abused. Yes, it's similar. I mean, it's an interesting comparison, but that's similar as far as like I had to lay down and take it. Yes. Like looking back, here's a good way to look at it. Looking back, what would I do different? If I was in the same boat then, if I don't know what I know now, if I could just go back in time and everything's the same, I probably wouldn't have changed a thing. I couldn't have changed a thing. He had full control. What Sophia says is true. You are a survivor now. Thank you, baby steps. Thank you for your super chat. Your strength you've shown the past 2+ years is inspiring. Thank you for being an example to women. I love you, my lawyer friend Denise, and I'm glad that you were here today. Thank you for saying that. If you had fought back, what would Doug have done? He would have screamed, like it would have taken more power away from me. He would have gotten me in trouble at the church. I would have been in more trouble in Scientology for fighting against him. It takes a brave person to unpack this shit. Thank you, Debbie. I feel that way. Thank you for saying it. Shannon's journey, speaking what was done to you is not blaming anyone. It's just a fact. Abusers want you to think that so you don't say anything. That is such a good point. And I was afraid to do this stream today. I felt like when Jeff used to go to naked houses, parties, like I've been sitting there on my couch today, like chewing my nails. I've been nervous because I still feel him having that. He's in my territory. I feel him, like I feel his presence, and it's not him. It's me giving power to it. It's not him. Joanne Hawley, you can forgive yourself of the guilt you were manipulated, controlled, and had no one to support you. What else could you do? In my opinion, nothing. Thank God you got out of that situation. You're a beautiful person who survived. I love you, Joanne Hawley. I'm glad you were here for this one. And which one are you not here for? Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. You were a thunderstorm he never saw coming. You will never stop seeking the truth. You're not a survivor. You're an advocate. That is amazing. Thank you for saying that, my friend. I appreciate that so much. Sounds like you pushed boundaries until you found a hole in the fence. I love that. I love that. You turned being a target into being a warrior. Sophia, that's good. I don't think Brenda could have helped you even if she wanted to. She seems to be broken. Absolutely. And that part is sad. That is sad. And I wish she could be helped. Hey, Margie Barr. Baby steps. A seed was planted today. Please continue to water it. Yes. Yes. I think you're absolutely right, baby steps. Thank you for the super chat. That's what I'm going to say. This won't happen overnight. But the fact that we talked about it today, that I got through I feel like honestly, we're going to need to do another stream. This couldn't have possibly taken place in 2 hours. But I do feel like I got out. Yeah, roll tide. But you knew you needed to talk about it. Yes. You weren't just up against Doug. The entire Scientology was controlling you, and you still managed to hold some boundaries with the showers. Thank you, Nicola. Guys, thank you for validating this. That's why I come here. Because it doesn't just affect me. This helps other people. It helps Robin Miners. Thank you. It helps other people because it connects other people to their stories. It spreads awareness. It makes people feel like maybe I should say something. This happened and I kind of swept it under the rug. I swept that under the rug. No question. I am guilty of that. I'm trying to pick up the pieces now. It's not easy. It's not easy now that he's 16. Things are starting to probably manifest that might have come from that. And I think that's what I mean when, like, my mom will say, like, well, you shouldn't have let Doug take him. And it's like, the other thing I don't like about that is, as a parent, don't shame any parents and go, you should have done this. Well, you should have done that. That is, in any situation, I don't care if you have kids or not, to say you should have done something to someone else. Like, remember the person that left a comment on my Facebook page yesterday and they were like, you need to get out of your Fred era and move into a new era. I don't need to do anything. You should and shouldn't, and you need to. Like, that's not helpful. And I'm not going to take your advice. Okay. Like, I will do what's best for me. But thank you. I will do what's best for me. Hey, West Coast Fancy Nancy, you are beginning to change the narrative in your head, and you are totally worth that. Melissa, thank you. That's what Baby Steps was saying. That's the seed that we're planting. Yes, Kim Leaf, and he is in therapy for that. As my name says, baby steps will get you there. That is so true. That is such a good point. I love you. Thank you, baby steps. Such a true point. We need to remind ourselves of that more often, actually. Thank you for your super chat. Renee B, no, but I think a lot of moms comment on parenting of their children. I think it's not uncommon, probably. Shelly Kelly, give yourself the grace you would show to us. That is such a sweet thing to say. And so you. Thank you, Shelly Kelly. I love you. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I think it's easy to judge other people, guys. Like what Renee B just said, I agree. But I think it's so easy. It's such a bad habit. It's such an addiction for any of us to go, well, like when I was stuck with Jeff and he would take my car keys and he financially bankrupted me. I had nowhere to go. I was truly trapped. And then when I finally leave, all these haters come out and they're like, why didn't you just leave? You had a child. Why didn't you get out sooner? You put your kid in danger. Are you kidding? Like, you cannot minimize somebody else's trauma and make it so easy. Why were you and Michael not invited to Thanksgiving? Because it was in very rural Iowa and we weren't invited. Now, there was like 1 or 2 years that Doug took Michael. Michael worked most Thanksgivings, but I was never once invited. Never once. What was I going to play if I could? I think. Maybe I don't know. I sent myself something today. Was it this? Was it this lady? Hold on. Let's listen to this lady.
I don't know who needs to hear this today, but let me make this clear. They don't get to judge choices you made if they never knew the choices that you actually had. People love to sit on the sidelines and pretend they would have handled your life better. They swear they would have been stronger, calmer, kinder, wiser. But where were they when you were choosing between what hurt and what hurt worse? They don't get to judge what you did or how everything played out if they never saw the cards that you were dealt. If they didn't see the pressure you were under and the fear that you were carrying, the doors that had slammed in your face, or the strength it took to just keep going. Some of your decisions weren't made in comfort. They were made in survival. Some weren't made with 10 options. They were made with 2 bad ones. And the loudest critics, they've never lived a day inside your skin. So let me remind you of something. You don't owe anyone an apology for doing what you had to do to make it through. You made the best choices you could with the information, the hope, the courage that you had at the time. If someone wants to rewrite your life so they can feel superior, let them talk. Let them twist. Let them assume. Because you know your story. You know your heart. And you know damn well they wouldn't have survived half the storms that you did. Hold your head up high. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. And you sure as hell don't need their judgment. Your life, your choices, your survival. Period.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Here, Robin Miners. I just sent that to you. Debbie A., that was a very kind thing to say. She said, and that's why I'll never judge you, Reese. And baby steps, people need to realize leaving is usually much more complex and difficult than it seems. That woman is speaking truth. Baby steps, thank you for that. And it's very validating. Thank you for your super chat. Everyone needs to listen to this daily. Choose. I love how she said you had to choose between what hurt and what hurt worse. Like people are, it's an addiction, guys. I mean, I don't even get mad at people anymore, but I will get email after email of people who are like, I watched your most recent stream and this offended me and here's why. And I think you should have done it this way. And next time I think you need to change your point of view on that. You need to have a different perspective. I don't like the way that you talked about that. Like, it's unbelievable. Holly Day. Okay. It's unbelievable to me. Copy. Holly. Paste. Okay. I just sent it to you. Your life, your choices, your survival. But it is unbelievable to me how many people are just so quick to judge. Why didn't you do it this way? I would have done it that way. Right. But here's the problem. That addiction also bleeds into you. I'm doing that to me. I don't really care what other people do as far as like, why didn't you do it, Reese? Why wouldn't you have done it this way, Reese? I mean, it doesn't really get to me anymore when people do that to me. I get it so much. It almost cured me, which is a good thing. But I do it to me. And that's a problem. I'm in my own head going, I should have done this, but I was there. I should have not let him take Huxley. I should have not let this happen. I should have fought harder. Like, that has to stop. And it's also not productive at all to go, you can should all over yourself. Okay. It's not going to change what happened. It's not going to change what happened. And the beautiful thing is I'm not in a cult anymore. That was the cult of Doug. That was the cult of the Argis family. I'm not in that cult anymore. I'm not in Scientology anymore. I'm not stuck to Jeff anymore. I'm not attached to the Jesters anymore. I am a free bird and I am aware of my wingspan. I am not letting anybody dethrone me. No one's going to take anything from me ever again. And no one's going to come at me and say, you got gestational diabetes? Eat whatever you want because LRH says to. You can't breastfeed your child because LRH says that. You can't. No one's ever going to tell me I can or can't do anything ever again. Ever again. Like it's never going to happen again. You can absolutely fuck right off a cliff before you're ever going to tell me what to do again. And I'm sorry to be so using the F word there. I was absolutely in a cult, Robin Miners, and I'm never going to allow anybody, especially, I don't know. I say this because I've never really had a woman treat me that way, like a man treat me that way. I am so grateful for somebody like Tommy because he doesn't do that to me. He doesn't do that to me. He's aware of my triggers and he purposely is more like, you'll never be in trouble again, babe. No one's ever going to do that to you again. Like that kind of thing. He builds me up. But I'm talking about random dick swingers out in the world. Nobody's ever going to, and I hope that you all take that too. Take that with you. Nobody will ever again be like, you're not going to do this. You're not, especially taking control of my child. That's really effed up. And I'm sad that I allowed it. I'm sad that it ever took place. I'm sad that I didn't see the writing on the wall, but I was in a cult. And I feel like God was going, don't worry, we're going to get you out of this. Okay. We're going to get you out of all this. You're going to open your eyes for the first time. You're going to get to see the sun for the first time. You're going to make friends for the first time. And you're going to think for yourself for the first time. You will understand what free will is, and you will figure things out and what's right for you. And you'll taste test and you'll dip your toe in stuff. And nobody's going to tell you you're wrong for it. Nobody's going to say, don't do that. Touch that, but don't taste. Right? Look, but don't touch. No one's going to ever do that to me again. I'm aware of the signs and I'm not looking back. So I think that was the purpose of today's stream. I was trying to take my power back, like baby steps said, baby steps. I'm not ending the stream going, I got my power back. I didn't. That's going to take a lot more time. That may take forever. I'm not sure that I'll die one day saying, so glad I got my power back. It's little by little, they took it all away. So I'm just taking little bits and pieces of it back. And I wake up every day and I immediately think of all the things I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for getting those little bits and pieces of power back. And you guys are my bits and pieces of power. This whole crowd, this stream, this channel, right? All the people that are close to me in my life right now, those are all my little bits and pieces of, they're there to support me. They're my strength. So I thank you for that. And today was a start. Today was a start. Today was hard. And I'm sure I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. And I'm sure that it's going to be work, mental work to go through this, all the stuff that we just drudged up and talked about. And maybe we'll have to do a little bit more tomorrow. I don't know what tomorrow's stream will be about. I rarely have a topic the day before. I don't know where I'm going usually until I hit go. Some days I have a bit of a topic like today. Some days I don't. Tomorrow, my guess is it's going to be regurgitated stuff that's just running through my mind of abuse and Scientology. And I want to keep that momentum going if possible, because I want the under the radars, if they're watching, to watch this kind of content. I want to spread the word about Scientology more and more and more. And that's why it's important to me that you hit subscribe. I never used to care. I'd go hit subscribe if you want. And still, don't do something you don't want to do. Let's not have group think. We're done with that. But I want to use this platform to spread this kind of message. It's powerful. It's important. And I saw something today, and it really, really meant something to me. This was such a beautiful thing, and I want to share this with you. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know where I got it from. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. Teach your daughters that having a voice is way more important than being nice. Hey, Georgia. Not just daughters, everybody. Don't even worry about teaching your child that. Take that. Having a voice, take away the first part. Just having a voice is way more important than being nice, being kind, setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. That's what this channel is. We started on YouTube. We're not going to end on YouTube. We're going to spread this message, and it's important. And I need to work through this stuff. And I need you here to do it with me. Right? This kind of message is important. Scientology is absolutely evil. And if I don't help spread the word, there's a lot of us doing that. We need to get on the bandwagon and spread that word. I can't do it every day. I can't do content on this every day. Maybe one day I can. Maybe we can spread the word through other ways. But when we do content like this, oh, I love you, Original Ann. When we do content like this, it's very important to me that we spread it around. People need to be educated on the evils of Scientology. And then not just Scientology. So you got someone like my dad or Doug, where it trickles down to their own weird cult. Do you understand? It's like it brainwashes and makes people insanely evil to their families. What happened to me and Huxley and Michael and Brenda was so evil. But I will not sit in that. And I will not be defeated by that or defined by that. Know that we're going straight up and vertical. We're going to fly above it. We have to work through it either way. It happened to us. It's the cards we were dealt, and we got to work through it. I will be on Cults and Crims in an hour and a half. If you want to join us over there, you're welcome to. Baby steps. People need to sit next to a woman or anyone living this and trying to help them make a plan. Maybe then they will have some empathy when seen close up. Yes. Yes. That's a good point and very sad. Thank you, Baby Steps. Thank you for being here. It meant a lot. Thank you for the super chat. Liz Tricks, you're one of them too. Thank you for being here. So proud of you, my friend. This stream inspired me to write your song for this month. Oh, Liz, I can't wait to hear it. I love you, Liz, and I'm glad your internet stayed on. I have no idea how she's doing now. Your growth in 3 years is nothing short of a miracle. You are an inspiration for us all. I'm so dang happy for you. Lisa Kelson, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're an eagle. Scientology is a crow. You are gaining altitude by the day. Absolutely true. Fly higher. The eagle has one enemy, has one predator, and it's a crow, guys. And it jumps on the eagle's back. And you know what they do? They go higher and higher into the atmosphere, and the crow chokes, and they fall off the back of the eagle. That's what we do. That's what we're doing. We're doing that with the hate. We're doing it with Scientology. We are moving forward. The crows are going to fall off because we're going higher into the atmosphere. I'm not playing fucking games. We're not going to do this drama shit. We're not shots fired with anything or anyone. We're here to improve ourselves, make things better, take accountability, and be better people. Growth. That's all I'm interested in, right? Would I ever get a tattoo of an eagle? Probably not. I would feel like Ricky Bobby on that Will Ferrell movie. I doubt it. Probably not. If I did, I'd probably get something under it that said America, just because. I love you guys. Yeah, Brenda was a party that was all to going on. She willingly allowed it. I love you, Debbie Zito. I love you, Holly Day. I thank you for this. For me and the legacy I leave to my girls. I love you. Talladega Nights, Robin. That was the funniest movie. Agreed. I'm constantly inspired by your bravery and strength. Debbie, I love you, and I'm honored to have you as my friend. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Please hit subscribe. It's very important to me that you hit subscribe. I would appreciate that. I want us to spread the message. I will be on Cults and Crims in a little bit. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Thank you for being members, and thank you for the super chats. Huxley and I appreciate it so much. Did my guilt get smaller? Yes, Martin, it did. And thank you for being here, Martin. You'd been waiting all day. All of you waited because I asked you to come to this stream, and you did. You showed up in droves. There were 290 people in here. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for supporting me and holding my hand through it. It is truly my love language that I can sit here and tell a story and almost 300 people show up and listen. It validates me so much, and you cannot put a price on that. I am so grateful for your time. Bella's mom, I'm glad that you were here. We had a new person, and I hope to see you again. I hope you come back. Thank you for taking the time, Bella's mom. I really appreciate you guys. I know that you have busy lives. I know you have other things to do. Thank you to the replay crew who will watch this as well. Share it if you'd like. I ask that you share these kinds of streams because it spreads the evil message of Scientology. It's important, and we need to get it out there. Thank you, guys. Powerful stream. Your strength is gaining. Collaborating with others is the way out. Let's go. Raise the vibe. Beautiful. I'm going to end with that. I love you guys. Cricket, thank you for being here. And I love you guys. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for everything. I will be back tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, here comes our cutie Fred, our little angel.